Where's your mental health at the moment? Because a couple of years ago, you know, you were quite honest about how you were feeling. Where are you now?
Yeah, I'm okay at the moment. I'm seeming to manage it a little bit better at the moment. I was speaking to a doctor for about 6 months to a year, Dr. Lanka from London actually, and he sort of told me how to sort of control it a little bit more. The way he explained it is though it's like losing a loved one. You know, he said you'll never get over it, but you sort of learn to deal with it a bit better. And before, the position I was in, it was all new to me, you know, I didn't know, it just hit me from nowhere. I mean, he said, I explained to him all the stuff I'd gone through in my past, and he said I'd been suffering for a while and not known, you know, I was waking up, I was just thinking like, people feel crap some days, you know, some days you feel good. But he said it was like a combination of like that building up, and then sooner or later it just was basically like a bottle of Coke, you know, once you're shaking, you open the top, sooner or later it explodes. And then, like I say, it hit me from nowhere, but obviously working with him, I've sort of dealt with it a little bit better, but I'm sure it will rear its head again at some point, you know, it's just obviously how I deal with it. But I've always spoke, like the Worlds this year, I probably shouldn't have played. I wasn't in a great place going in, but I thought I'll go there, and if I win 1 or 2 games, you know, with the atmosphere and the buzz of the place, I might trigger something and turn you around. Looking back, it didn't. I probably shouldn't have played, but, you know, I've learnt from that and know that if I'm in that position again, then no matter what tournament, I won't play.
Thank you for sharing that. I mean, out on the table, there was no signs of anything other than strength.
No, not at all. And look, without divulging too much or giving too much away, I mean, the odd occasion, you know, Mark will have a result, positive or negative, send the odd text about whatever, just feelings, and it's people would be surprised to maybe discover that Mark's not as confident as what he looks out there. He looks about $1 billion when he's playing well, but there are, you know, for whatever reason, and there are probably different reasons for it, aren't there? You know, you doubt yourself, or that, you know, that generally my return text to Mark would be, listen, Gary, just keep going, because you're all right at this blooming thing, you know.
And to be fair, we're probably like, as an individual sport, we're probably playing the worst game possible for that kind of
it's tough out there.
thing, you know, because there's so many highs and lows in this sport. You have a bad loss or a bad beat, next minute you're on a low, that could trigger it, you know, and then next minute you're on a high, and then next minute you're on a low. It's just...
It's all understandable.
It's just an emotional roller coaster from start to finish.
What is it like performing in front of 2,000 people? Because we compare this to what you did at the Championship League, and obviously, well, it's night and day.
Yeah.
What is it like with such a raucous crowd in such a prestigious tournament?
Oh, it's great when you're in a great frame of mind and you're in a great position, you know, but if you're not, that's probably the last place you want to be, in front of that many people, if you're not in a great place. But, you know, I enjoyed it out there. I felt like going into the match, I was looking forward to it, which is always a positive. So even if I'd have lost, yeah, you'd have probably been disappointed, but having known what I've been through the last few years and how to deal with it, you know, at the end of the day, it's just a game of snooker, let's be honest, with what's going on in the world.
I'm going to jump in, actually, and just, you know, I'm sitting in the middle between these two. I feel a bit nervous, actually. But I would love to see these two in a final, would you not, Rads, you know, at some stage? You know.
Flipping out. If both our heads are in the bin when we get to the final, you're in trouble, because we're both pulling out.
Wouldn't that be fun, though?
But after that match there, like, obviously you play well, do you feel like that's a good sign for the rest of the tournament, or do you just think, no, just one match at a time, or do you think sometimes you hit the ground run and you think, oh, this could be a good week here?
Yeah, I mean...
Do you ever think like that?
I don't know, Ron, because, like, say, obviously you've been through it a lot longer than me, and like you could wake up one day and you think on a massive low, and before you know it, you're like but like I say, at the moment, for the last few months I've been in a decent place, so hopefully it stays like that. And if that's the case, then yeah, looking for the next few days going forward, I'll be looking forward to it, and hopefully I can carry on playing somewhere similar to that, because you need to, you know, to go on and win the tournament and get far.
Have you changed anything then, like in your practice, the amount you practice, maybe playing less tournament? I don't know, has there been a...
Not really, I mean, it's funny, because I felt like I played okay this season, and then like I played Jack in the UK, I felt like he played great against me, and I didn't really do too much wrong. In the Champion of Champions, I lost to Zhao 4-1 up, I felt I didn't really do too much wrong from 4-1 to 4, and then he played well. So it's not as if I'm like, if I was losing matches and playing poor as well, I'd be like more worried. So I've just carried on playing, and then I've done a few exhibitions early Jan. And exhibitions, I think, for me, I see them as a massive positive, because I just play and you're chatting to the crowd, having a bit of banter, and you don't think about all this and stuff, and you just get on and play.
100%.
And then I was doing them exhibitions, and I played like well in them, and I thought, you know what, I felt like something's clicked, so I thought I'll get back to the practice, just carry on doing that, and felt exactly the same.
1,000,000%, yeah, played some of my best snooker. I was doing more exhibitions, I just found I took that.
You can go to an exhibition and think, I'm not looking forward to this, because I know I'm struggling at the minute, and like they want me to put on a show. Next minute, you go there, not a care in the world. Next minute,
Queuing out your skin, you think, oh, I won't get pocket next to
I mean,
them.
I know
That's
most of the
true.
time the pockets are like
No, it
Sulo
doesn't
bins,
matter,
but
yeah,
I mean...
it's feeling, isn't it? It's just how you feel, isn't it? If you
Yeah.
feel confident, it doesn't matter. The pockets can be small, you're still going to find a way to get them in.
I mean, if you're struggling, you'll struggle. It doesn't matter
yeah,
how
no,
big
you're
the
right.
pockets
As
are.
the exhibitions, I used to find that, yeah.
I'll tell you what's awesome is 30 years ago, players would never have spoken with this kind of vulnerability about what goes on off the table. So it's actually fantastic because...
You just got to look at them chess players. They're all nuts. And this is chess with balls.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's true,
you know, and they get away with it. They go, oh, because it's a mental sport, you've got to be so clever, thinking so many moves ahead. Well, this is no different. This is Kasparov sitting here. Do you know what I mean? But he just does it with a stick. No, serious. It's not like football. They're running around and they're diving in. They've got their teammates. There's adrenaline in, and you ain't got time to think. This is like pure. That's why I said to you, I don't want my kids to ever play this sport.
And the thing is, there's no hiding place out there, is there?
You know,
you're playing bad and you're struggling, you get caught out. Like Ron said, football, if you're playing bad, the team still wins because you've got 10 people supporting you. And no one sees your performance playing bad. You know, the team wins and the thing...
But when you're younger, I think when I used to play football as a kid, the reason why I wanted to play snooker was because I didn't want to rely on anyone. I don't know if you felt the same, but I thought, no, I'm going to take snooker up. Because I thought, I've got these 10 teammates here. And doing it. I've got to, like, am I going to put my faith in someone else? No, I'd rather do this because I know that I'm in control of this, maybe. I don't know if you felt the same.
I felt I'd just go into the club just to get me away from school. I was telling my dad I'm going to school, and then the school's ringing in 3 hours later, oh, your son's not in, and I'm down the club playing snooker.
Misspent youth.
Does your headmaster know what you do now, by the way?
Well, it's funny because my PE teacher, when I was at school, when I used to go, he used to love snooker, so every Thursday after school, we used to go to Willie Fawn's and play for 2 hours.
Wow.
And then, like, after about 2 years of us, like, just having a game with each other, he put a word in with the school and said, look, I play Mark, like, every week. He's like, he's got a... whether he's got a future or not, but he can play, so I think that we should teach him from home. So all of a sudden, they was giving me the work, setting me the work, and coming home and checking it, and I was doing it, and then they was setting me some more work. And after about 4 or 5 months, they stopped coming to check. So my dad said, oh, I need to ring the school to get them to come back. I said, no, you don't. You leave the phones right there. I don't need to check at all. I'm doing all right.
I actually think it's the case with a lot of these guys, Raj. You kind of become at school as the snooker boy or the snooker person. And, that, you know, you go into registration, you put your two-piece cue behind the desk. And,
do you know what? I think World Snooker should have somebody, like at football, they have masseuse, people sorting out injuries. I think at snooker, they should have someone at the tournament employed as like someone struggling. They've come off the table. Do you need to have 10 minutes for someone? I'm not saying everyone will go in there. I just think for the because a lot of players suffer in silence, basically. I can tell. I just look at them. I go, you know, they're struggling, but they should have someone to go to and talk to. I think that's so important. You know, you have coaches sorting your cue action out, but really you need someone just to like unload a bit. I think it would really help the players. I know Sean Murphy's part of the panel or whatever. But I think part of this, whatever, they could find the money to employ someone full time. You know, to be there for the players, because it really is tough mentally. I mean, like, if he's struggling mentally, and I struggle mentally, and John Higgins struggles mentally, then the other 124 are 1,000,000% are struggling mentally. But you're not allowed to, like, you know, oh, what's the matter? You're a snooker player, getting paid this, getting paid that. Well, it's not about the money, you know. He doesn't need the money. Johnny doesn't need it. It's just pride of performance. It's, you know, you want to put a show on for the crowd. You want to put a show on for yourself. You know, you want to play well. It's such a, you know, and when you don't, it can really like drive you crazy. You know, so and sometimes just a little 5-10 minute check, you can go, oh, I'm all right. I'm all right now. I can go to sleep. I look forward to tomorrow instead of going back and beating yourself up. Because look at someone like Gary Wilson. He's very articulate the way he talks, and I think he's great because he really suffers as well. You know, but he articulates it very well. But not a lot of people.
There'll be a lot of players
that.
out there, like Ron says, are suffering and probably don't want to speak out or scared to speak out. You know, but if they've got someone like that where they can just go in. Off in a corner and just speak to them one-on-one, I'd probably feel more comfortable doing that than like...
I mean, and the guy would be busy. Whoever they employed, he would be a busy man.
And a lot of the time, what I've learnt from it, when you tend to open up more to someone who you don't know. Like when I was speaking to that doctor, because I didn't know him, he was saying, right, obviously tell me what... But if I was to like sit there and try and open up to one of my friends, I couldn't do it because I'd felt like they'd be hurting as well, listening to how I'm feeling, sort of thing. But if I'm telling somebody else, he don't know me from Adam, this doctor, you know. Obviously, he's just doing his job. And
the thing about the boys make a terrific point, actually, that for young players on the tour, or even seasoned players, you go and play a tour. And let's say you're from Glasgow and you go to, I don't know, Leicester to play a tournament. It's a 5.5, 6 hour drive, best part of. you lose 4-0, 4-1, whatever the case may be. In some cases, how am I getting home? Will I ask him for a lift home, or what is the train? Can I get that? It's a long road back.
Yeah, it's a lonely sport.
And I mean, a lot of the players can't sometimes afford to take someone with them. So if you can take a friend, like I've got Robbie, Mark's obviously got someone, and you kind of go, well, you might unload on them. But actually, to have someone there that you can talk to is a massive benefit. And also, you might think, I don't feel like going, but oh, Trevor's there, you know, I might want to go and see the head doctor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's going to be there. I know I'm feeling like I'm not fancying it, but I can go there, I can have a half hour with him. You know, like you book a practice time, you can go and book a half hour with a doctor or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you look forward to seeing him, so you'll go to the tournament and you think, well, I've got to... It's the only place I can see him.
Lads, I think you started...
I think it's sort of something that...
There'll be more players than what you think will actually go.
I don't think it should be something they talk about. I think it should be something that implemented really... You know, just get a doctor in. You know, it's not a lot of money.
I think actually also, again, the boys are making a terrific point, but if you go in and speak to Trevor or whoever the case may be, he could say, listen, there's a dozen of you. He's not going to mention any names. It's the strictest of confidence, obviously. But then that alone, you think, well, do you know what? I'm not alone, and perhaps that, you know.
Yeah, no, it's a lonely place, like Ronnie said. Like for me, obviously, if I could take someone around with me all the while, I would. But then obviously, like, there's probably only a handful of people who you'd probably choose, you know. And a lot of them people are working and got full-time jobs. And I mean, I've offered, like, saying, look, I'll pay for you to come round with me. If it means you obviously like not being able to work, but you know, it's difficult. They've got families and they want to do other stuff. But you know, I got a guy who runs a club who's here with me this week. Ian is a great guy, and I'd have him every comp. But he said, look, I need the club to run. And to be fair, he does, because he's tight as cramp. So I mean, he wouldn't just come round like just like walking around with me everywhere.
Tight as a dead teeth.
Oh, he's granite.
Lads, you know what? Sometimes post-match interviews are about analysis, and sometimes they're about something more important than that. And that was a really profound, honest conversation. And I feel